What is up, fam? It's your boy Paul P. Henny, and this is the One Day at a Time podcast. That's right. And fam, and remember, we're coming at you every week. As a matter of fact, every Monday on your favorite podcasting channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and leave a rating and share, because you never know if what we're doing here is going to benefit somebody out there. And look at what we have here. Look at what we have here, fam. I told y'all on that second podcast, or that first one of them, I said that my wife will be joining. I call her my curly-haired righteous fox. Woo! But what she chose to do is tie that hair up just a little bit just for this podcast. I think she's trying to troll her brother. But anyway, this is my beautiful wife, Kierra Henderson. Hey, Kierra, how you doing, girl?
Hey, Paul. I'll see you an invoice for this appearance.
No, all right, put it on my tab. Put it on my tab.
A long tab.
It's a long No, but so I'm so excited to have my wife with me. Quite honestly, she's been with me in every single podcast that we've done. Every single episode, she's been behind the scenes. She's been helping me. She's been letting me know when I've mispronounced words. She's caught most of them. Mm-hmm. Every once in a while, I mispronounce
Wherever
them.
you get your Comcast.
Comcast. Yeah. I said podcast.
No, I was like, you said podcast. Comcast.
And we play it back, and she was right. And she was right. But I'm so honored to have Kierra with me today as we're talking about this topic. When I told her what I was planning on doing this week, she said, "Hey, I think that'd be a good time for me to join." And I 1,000% agreed, because we've been rolling together. We're at 14 years, being married. And we've gone through so much together, starting out when we first met in Richmond, Virginia. We dated for a couple of years and, got married. And 14 years of marriage and 4 children later, here we are in Detroit, Michigan.
Yes. That's wild.
It is. So the topic today that we're going to be discussing is gratitude in the hard times. What does it look like to have gratitude in the hard times? So one of the things that I was considering talking about, and I think this is kind of where we agreed that we should talk about this together, was our move to Detroit. I mean, it was completely unplanned. There was nothing within us in 2023, prior to that call that said we wanted to move anyway. As a matter of fact, we were just in the process in Richmond, Virginia, just trying to prepare her to buy a home in Virginia, somewhere within that greater Richmond area. And then all of a sudden, I get this call about, being an administrator in a school in Detroit. And just like that, we're making a move to from Richmond, Virginia, where, I've been in Virginia my entire life, down in the Tidewater 757 area. 757, stand up, okay?
Y'all sit down. 804.
Yeah. So, but I've been there for 18 years and in Richmond for 20 years. And you have been in Richmond your entire life. And then all of a sudden, we're moving our family literally across the country to Detroit, Michigan. Now we ended up finding a home and everything, which was a blessing. But just tell me, what was that like for you? Just that entire process of from realizing that we were about to leave everything behind and moving across the country to this foreign land, if you will.
So I was born and raised in Richmond, Virginia. I was about 34 at the time. I was born there at Richmond Memorial Hospital. So I was a full-bred Richmond girl. And I always say that there's a point in time where if you didn't leave already, then you're probably not going to leave. And so I felt like I had passed that time where typically people relocate. So I just had my eyes on just being in the area. And I was totally content with living in Richmond and traveling from Richmond. I feel like is a great place to travel from. And that was just what I had settled on. One of our dreams, though, was to purchase a home. And, we have been praying for years, even prior to us moving to Detroit. We met with Aaron, we met with a financial advisor, and we had a plan. We had a plan mapped out on how to purchase a home in our area within 2 years. Right. So when Paul gets the phone call for us to move here, all of a sudden we go from a 2-year plan to we have to buy a house now.
Like immediately, right?
Yes, because one thing, I was not finna rent in Detroit. The only thoughts I really had about moving to Detroit was just I would see a TikTok and it would be this is the Detroit houses. This is what it looks like before. This is what it looks like now. And I'm the type of person where I like to take old things and make them new again. And I would see those things and be like, if I can get my hands on one of them houses. And it was just a thought. It was just a thought. It just went nowhere, but as I was under the impression of. But that was my only idea of ever moving to Detroit. I thought it was a long shot. And something that was just if I live over there, I get me one of them houses. So when we got the call about moving to Detroit, I kind of knew that it was something that we were going to do. And during that process, though, something's always a great idea. Something can be a great idea, but it's really when it goes from idea to implementation, that's when the rubber hits the road. Where it's all fun and games when you on your friends be like, we might be moving to Detroit. I guess I should buy me a coat. I bet I told one of my friends I need a coat and a gun. Only got a coat and some snow pants. But it's all fun and games when you're talking like that. But then when it actually comes time to do the idea or to implement the calling or to actually put action to the idea, that's when it just requires just a different, you just have to doing something, which just actually doing it was difficult because I felt like I was being snatched away from my hometown, from my family, from everything that I knew and loved. We have such a rich community of friends there. And it was hard to go from, I'd never moved out of town before. I never went away to college or anything. So that was very difficult.
Yeah. Wow. And I remember it was challenging. And to your point, you're right. You did know before I did, because when I was first proposed with the idea, I was like, absolutely not. I'm fine in Richmond. It took us forever to find consistent daycare for Noah. We finally found something that was reasonably priced for us while our youngest son was still in a safe environment.
We were set up. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's the thing about us moving is that we left at our peak.
Yes.
We left Richmond at our peak.
Right.
We were like, this is great. We had some things rolling. We had some things figured out.
Right.
Income looking good.
Right.
Everything, opportunities, daycare set up, everything that we had ever wanted. We were on our path of success.
Yeah, absolutely. And it reminds me of that scripture. It says, in his heart a man plans his way, but it's the Lord that directs his steps, something like that. And that's, which is funny. That's actually the verse that God put in my heart when I proposed to you. Okay. And she said yes, because we're here, of course. But anyway, but on a serious note, I was in a school where if you were an employee of the school, the tuition was covered. All we had to pay for was the books. Noah was in a daycare that was reasonably priced, but it was also a safe place. So it wasn't like reasonably priced, but sketchy practices.
Right.
No, it was reasonably priced in a very safe, good environment. So things were looking really good. I had really gotten comfortable or content or competent, if you will, with the job that I had, and I was looking forward to taking the next steps of growth. And then all of a sudden we're here. So so you're so right with so much of what you said, and which is funny because you're right. You knew before I did. I mean, I wasn't trying to move anywhere, And as a matter of fact, I actually gave a pretty quick no at first. That was my first initial response. But just through a series of events, you knew that, hey, we need to really seriously take a look at this. So fast forward through a long series of events that we can get to at another time, we end up here in Detroit. We end up in our very first home where, we're the homeowners. We have a mortgage. We're so excited. We make that trip overnight from Richmond, Virginia to Detroit, Michigan. We walk into the house like this is our home in our new city. And we are so excited that we have that first weekend.
Yes.
How about you talk about that? Because the reality is I was still going to work and you were dealt to deal with the challenges within our home. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So the thing about all of this is that we had prayed for a house for years.
Years.
We wanted a house. A house was just what I wanted. I just wanted a house so bad. I had things written down and what I wanted in my house. And even when we were moving here, I was like, okay, this is an opportunity. We wanted a house.
Right.
And we were given a house. We were blessed with the house. And like you said, that first day, walking through and being like, this is our first house, albeit all the way across the country. This is where our first house was. So even, it's like, so during that time, it was just balance of, this is hard, but I'm thankful. Like, this is hard, but this is what I prayed for. This is an answered prayer, but this is not how I thought it would be answered. So our first week, I was just like not happy at all. Like, I'm just walking around. I mean, I slept for like 3 days because I had a migraine, and I'm finally able to decorate my house in the way that I wanted to. And all of a sudden, I look out the window, and there's sparks flying in the backyard.
Wow, yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck is that? And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know, not near a neighbor. Now my southern self, I'm like, wait a minute now. Like, I'm waving folks. I'm like, I didn't know near neighbor. And so
Sparks, it is not 4th of July.
It was like, wait a minute.
It was like October 1st or October 2nd. And like, why are we seeing sparks up in the sky?
Spark was in the sky. And so I didn't even know what the power company was called. And I ended up calling DTE. And I'm like, y'all need to come because it's a power line, and I don't know. They were like, where you live? I barely know my address. I'm like, I'm looking out like my address is, I don't know. Hold on, lady. And so sparks are flying, and nobody comes out. Like, and I'm like, wait a minute. So then my neighbor, I finally did see a neighbor. Someone calls the fire department because it just keeps happening. We keeps hearing sparks flying, and the fire department came out, and then this long story short, the power ended up going out because apparently that's what has to happen for things to get fixed. It has to break for them to actually fix it. Apparently we don't do preventative.
Right.
So the lights went out, and we're sitting in here, boxes all over the place in the dark.
Everywhere.
We did meet our neighbor, our beloved neighbors, the Clarks next door. And they gave us some candles and things like that. There's a candle on this mantle, and I'm sitting in the living room in the dark. The boys are like making fun, and they're doing puppets and shadow puppets and all of those things. And I'm sitting in a corner, and all of a sudden, I hear a drip. And I see the candlelight just so lit up the drip. Oh, you could like see the reflection of light in that drip, and the ceiling is leaking with the lights out.
And how long have we been here?
Like less than a week. This was week 1. This was probably like day 4. I finally woke up from a headache. And so we didn't have a church, but I'm like, oh no, we going to church on Sunday because somebody's gonna find me a plumber. And so you got the plaster ceilings, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got this old house. I don't know how to fix plaster. I don't want anything messed up. It's water leaking. Father God. it was like Detroit was hazing us. It was like, you want to come to the D? Let's see what you about to be. And so that was the first challenge. So the lights end up coming on because that's what they should do. But the leak was something that we had to figure out.
Right.
So we went to church. A pastor gave us a recommendation of a plumber who we still use today.
Yeah, and a quick backstory. That pastor had actually he had actually come to Richmond a year before. And I jokingly said to him, hey, we can come visit y'all up in Motown. I was literally joking. I didn't know we'd be moving here.
Right.
So when we moved here, I reached out to him and I said, hey, we're here now, so on and so forth. So gratefully, that's the pastor, Pastor Ken. That's who we visited. And we're grateful for him to this day, because he hooked us up with our plumber that we still use to this day.
So that was like the beginning of like this, the house that I'm thankful for starts falling apart. I'm like, is this house I prayed for? Or like, this is like a stand-in. But literally, I'm having to be thankful for a house that's falling apart and a house that's not doing what I want it to do. And it's like, we are thankful, like we are homeowners. Like we finally got some stake in the game. But I'm like, why, as of right now today, you turn the doorknob and it come with you. I was like, I'm supposed to be thankful for this? Every time somebody go into the bathroom, in the powder room, there's like a list of disclaimers. Like we've had company and they knocking on the door to get out. I'm like, oh, if you didn't know, there's a butter knife. There's a butter knife behind the sink, and if you didn't know, you're supposed to use that to get out to the bathroom.
Give me 1 second, player.
Right,
I got you. I'm gonna let you out. Okay.
Or if you get lucky, just call me. Just call me. I'll let you out. Take your phone in the bathroom because you might need to call.
Wow. So that wasn't the only thing that Jamie helped us with, was it?
No, that was not the only thing that Jamie helped us with. I had a love-hate relationship with seeing Jamie. I was like, every time I see you, you about to rescue me and this money about to be gone. And when I see you, that means you about to help me and like something has gone drastically wrong.
It's like, we like you. We like the fact that you can fix things. But the reality is, we see you because something is wrong.
Right, like can we see you in other circumstances? Like maybe we should just like invite him for dinner or something like that. I was thankful to see him because he was helping us, but also like, God, what is going on with this house? So the next time, Jamie fixed the leak because this was a flip house and the people who renovated it didn't do a good job. And so that's part of the story. So they didn't do a good job, and then some of the things weren't done well, so we had to redo a lot of things. But the next time we saw Jamie, Father God. Now this is the one where you talk about having gratitude in hard times. For me, it wasn't about finding gratitude. It was just making the decision to be grateful.
Right.
Like I was not going to find it. So what happened was one day we walking around the house and we have 4 boys and we smell a lot of things. But this one was just different. This smelled like an accumulation of all the boys.
Oh my goodness.
And this is our first time having a basement. Like we didn't have that, in Virginia. But here, everybody has a basement with furnace and all of those things. So I go downstairs to the basement. I'm doing like a seek and find, like a hunt. And there is sewer water coming from the sewer clean out. And it's literally flooding the basement.
Oh my goodness.
At that point, I was like, I'm done with this.
You done?
I went to Home Depot. I got a squeegee, a push squeegee, a Home Depot bucket, some disinfectant, and a mop. And I literally had to squeegee the sewer water into the drain and then mop it and do it. I forbid Paul to do it because I was like, you don't even need to worry about this. You going to school with all these kids, and don't even worry about it. I got it. And I was like, I feel like I would be the better one to do it anyway because it was a lot.
Yeah, because most of these issues, a lot of time, they were happening while I'm at school. So I'm in the process of getting used to a job and working in a school that's completely different than the school where I was in Richmond, Virginia. You know, the challenges that we had, the challenges that we were facing. I literally remember walking down the hall in that school asking myself, man, did I make a mistake? Or like, did we hear God correctly? Or like, what the heck have we gotten ourselves into? So I'm dealing with all this, all this crap and all this foolishness in school, and Kierra's at home literally dealing with crap. Okay. Literally. Oh my goodness. And every time I'm like having like crap PSTD. Right. Where I'm like, is that the smell of just like the boys, or that's like an actual sewer smell? Yeah.
And so it would happen, and every time it would happen, I would go in there and I would, just try to clean it up until Jamie could get here. I think we did 2 times, 2 times of this, and then it ended up being some roots in the sewer line, or he had to snake the line, and it ended up being some roots in there from the overgrowth in the lot next to us, because the lot next to us was literally it was just overgrown.
If there's anything such as a Detroit forest in the middle of a neighborhood, that's what the lot next to us was. Oh my goodness.
So that moment, I remember there were nights where like this thing kept happening, and I would literally be in the basement, where I felt like was one of the lowest moments of my life, where it was like a wilderness, where I'm like, God, you took me away from everybody that I love. You placed me here in this house that I thought I had prayed for. I didn't pray for any problems. I just prayed for a house. And there's literally crap all over the place. And I remember being in the basement with like gloves on. I was suited and booted like a bootleg COVID get up. And I was like, I just yelled out, Lord, I thought you said I'd never seen the righteous forsaken or their children begging for bread. Right. And I was like, Lord, I feel like I'm begging.
Yeah. And that was hard. I mean, because I think out of all those times, most of the times when you were doing the squeegeeing or whatever, or whatever you call it. I mean, I'm not the best with my hands. I'm good at doing stuff like this and talking to y'all and working with the kids. But that's not my gifting. And I think it was at least 1 or 2 times where I did, step in because I was home at the time. But a lot of this stuff was happening. I was at work. I'm at work, and Kierra is literally at home, not knowing anybody. Because at the very least, I had my coworkers that I was getting to know. We didn't have a church home at the time. We had our neighbors that we kind of knew a little bit, but Kierra didn't know. You didn't know anybody.
Nope.
You didn't know anybody, and we're dealing with this stuff, this crap. And then I think about it, on top of that, we had trouble with our HVAC. So I'm grateful for my coworker who put me, said, hey, check out the DTE protection plan because they can come out and help you with the HVAC. So we did that. So we called them, right? And we're excited because we saw, I think when we were up here, we actually saw them installing, the HVAC. So we saw like new things being installed. So we like, if we call them out here,
you saw them installing it. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we're thinking that they might just got to come in and maybe tinker with it a little bit or whatever the case is. It was giving tinker. And boom, we'll be back up and rolling. Because we're in Detroit, the AC. Okay, by this time it was starting to get a little cooler. So we just want to make sure that our heat is working perfectly. But what happened? What happened when the people came out to help us with our heat? That look right there. Oh my goodness.
So I'll say this too. One of the things about us moving is that we left everybody that could help us. Like,
that's right.
My big brother, is an HVAC professional. when he visited, he was down there doing all this stuff with the wires and stuff, and he was troubleshooting our system. So everybody that could help us with something was not here. And so that was a part of leaving, is like leaving your help too. So I'm going down there. I remember one time I FaceTimed my brother, like, why this not cutting on? Like, what's going on? He was like, check this, check that. So the heat's not coming on. Nothing's coming on upstairs. And downstairs, the heat was short cycling, where the furnace was turning off before it got to temperature. So let's say it was like 20 degrees out. We could come downstairs from in the morning, and it'll be like 55 degrees when the heat was set to like 68 or something. And so it was just so many times where we're like, this is not working like it's supposed to. So what's going on? So they come, we call it DTE, they come out. He checks the system or whatever, and this gentleman says, ma'am, I have to cut your gas off because you have gas leaks all over. And it is gas leak. He was like, there's so many gas leaks down here that it is just like, it's just ridiculous. Like, I'm cutting it off. That's just it. And you're gonna have to figure it else out. But I cannot have the gas on in this house and have you stay here. He signed a little paper or whatever. But yeah, they came here to look at the heating system, and it was just like, no, the gas is being cut off.
Yeah, and because, I think about that. We had never had all gas appliances like that. That just was something that we had never dealt with.
It was like rotten eggs. I'm like, it don't smell like rotten eggs to me. I'm like, just say it smell like gas.
Right. So Kierra every once in a while say it smells like gas, but like, well, we have all gas appliances, and we never had all gas appliances before. So we were like, is this normal?
Like, is you supposed to smell a little bit when it cut on? Like you cut on a gas stove, you can kind of smell a little something. Like what's normal, what's not.
Right. So this guy tells us this. Kierra calls me and lets me know. I'm at work when this happens. Once again, school was hard, fam. School was so hard. The challenges that we're dealing with. So when she calls me, and I'm in the process of dealing with some of the stuff there that's going on in our school, and dealing with students who are coming in with all kinds of issues, I get this call, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. And by this time, fam, it had gotten cold. So it was already like the evenings were getting to the 20s. I remember them cutting that off, and we had to go. Yeah, we had to go. We had to leave.
We had to go to a hotel.
And I specifically remember packing for the hotel, and Kierra had bought a thermostat for our bedroom just to kind of help us just know like what temperature we're really dealing with. It was like 45 degrees in our bedroom.
Like you could see the condensation. You could see the cold air coming from. Like we could see our breath in our bedroom. Yeah. And when we left to go to the hotel, I remember like trying to protect my plants from getting frostbite in the house. So I had made like a little greenhouse. I had got some clear plastic trash bags and put them over my plants so that they could be warm while we were gone.
Wow. Because, if it's just, the heat not working, which it wasn't, that's one thing. But, you talk about the heat not working. No hot water for showers, no hot water for anything. We couldn't cook anything because we had all gas appliances. I mean, it was awful.
It was crazy.
I remember there being 2 calls that I made. One, I called my parents, and I'm grateful for my parents because, they were definitely encouraging during that time. And it is something about having people, even if they're not with you locally, that you could just reach out to and who can support you. And because sometimes you need those encouraging words just to help you to get from one place, to the next. Also, my supervisor said, hey, let me at least help you out with like one night, of a hotel, because at the time we'd only been here for like a month or 2. Do you remember what month this was?
I think this was November going into December.
Yeah, so November going into December. Here, I had never dealt with like these types of cold temperatures so early on.
Because when we went to the hotel
Yeah.
that night, we stopped at a fried fish place because why not?
Why not? Yeah.
And as we were at the fried fish place, it was snowing. It was
Yeah.
snow falling from the sky.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any heat in our house. And it was crazy. So I think we were in a hotel for like 4 days.
Yeah.
Now, here's where the gratitude comes in for me.
Mm-hmm.
Our plumber helped us, but it was a lot of materials, the copper wiring, which is expensive. It was so much. So the bill was more than what we had. Like, it was a lot. We had just kind of cleaned, like, we had just moved across the country. We had just gotten to the house. We had paid fees and all of these things. But what I see is that the cost to fix the gas leaks downstairs, I had just finished a job that was literally the same amount to get it fixed. Now,
To the dollar. Wow.
were there other things that I could have done with them? I had wanted to get a new couch, and I was like, that was my couch money. That was my housewarming money. But really, it was actual housewarming money where it's like, girl, you need to get your gas on because your house needs to be warm. And I just thank God for the provision of that, where he knew that I was going to need this money at this time. And the job that I had was literally the same amount. And nobody could know that but God. Like, that was just his provision. And I got this job in August. It was August. We were still there in Richmond. And so God knew, he knows what we need even before we ask.
Absolutely.
And so like, those are moments where I'm see, okay, Lord, you got my back. Like, you got our back. Like, you're just not going to leave us out here. Like, we're going to be able to pay for this because we needed to pay for it. Like, it was not an option not to get this fixed, but it was just like, how are we going to get this fixed? We're paying cash for everything.
Right.
And it's just like, what the heck? So we were able to have the money to pay for it. And it was tough, but I'm like, thank you, Lord.
Right.
And so that began a process of us being here where I'm like, this is hard, but I'm thankful for the character that this is building in me.
Absolutely.
Because if I was at home, I would be a phone call or two away.
Right.
Or, we had a whole list of people who could help us get out of anything.
Right.
Any of these problems that we would have had in Richmond would have been solved like that by friends and family.
Right. Wow. I think about during that time, because you mentioned just say, hey, we're going to get some fish tonight because, brother likes some fried fish, okay? I might be having some today, okay? But I remember sitting in that parking lot, waiting for that fish, and Pastor Travis called.
Oh.
And he had no idea. He didn't know what we were dealing with. And Pastor Travis was the last pastor that we from our church in Richmond, the last church we were in, and it was just the Lord put us on His heart in that moment as we're headed to a hotel because we're displaced from our home just for a few days. I think about another friend of ours. I think about another Travis, if you will. He's a good friend of mine, And sometimes he would just call and say, hey, Paul, I know y'all up there. I know it's different. How's it going? And it was almost like God would just put us on different people's hearts at different times. And sometimes it was like literally right in the midst of us going through, one of these challenges when we're questioning, like, God, do we make the right move? And sometimes as the husband, as your husband and as the father to our sons, I'm like, Lord, what did I mess up? Like, did I drop the ball? What did I miss?
Right.
Because like, how do we end up in this situation? Yes, I'm glad that we have a home, but Lord, I didn't know, because the common theme is like, okay, you homeowners have homeowners problems, but we're having these homeowners problems in a faraway state,
right?
And where the homes are function completely differently, than some of the homes in Virginia. Like, for example, they have the crawl space in Virginia. Here they have basements. Some of the issues we had never dealt with before.
Yeah.
But the Lord was just so faithful to us. One, providing people like Jamie. You know, my supervisor was he was very supportive and helpful to us during that time. Just the friends that would just reach out and just check on us and say, how you doing? You know, those who, you know, will remember us, say, hey, how you doing? And I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for you because, you know, we went through this together. and our roles a lot of times were different as we processed some of this stuff. But a couple years later, here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are. How else would you see gratitude as you look through this process? And Lord knows we've had other challenges since we've been here. You know, it's gratefully this past summer, we finally got some of that HVAC fixed, about half of it.
When Jamie was just here 2 weeks ago, replacing the hot water heater.
Yeah. So what role, when you look at some of the challenges that we've been through, how would you say that gratitude has helped you to not only manage but figure out a way to thrive through the challenges?
So when I was in therapy, one thing my therapist would say is that when you start to feel depressed, that gratitude was the antidote for depression.
That's good.
So you get up and you're like, oh, I feel depressed. It's like, okay, what are you thankful for? Like what can you think about that's going well and that's going good? So gratitude helped me to keep my perspective correct. So we knew we came out here on a kingdom mission. We were being sent by the Lord. There is no ifs, ands, and buts about it. I would not be here if the Lord had not sent us. So when I'm thankful for his provision while I'm on a kingdom assignment, that helps me to stay kingdom minded. It helps me to stay like, okay, God, I'm not here for me. I'm here for what else you want me to do. Like it takes my mind off myself into what really matters.
Right.
Yes. Gratitude helps me to appreciate what we have, even if it's not ideal. It helps me to not complain when it's not ideal, because that was something I struggled with too. Like, this is not working. This is not working. There's a whole other litany of things that were going wrong with the house that I could complain about. But there were sometimes I had to really just change my mindset. Like something would fall apart, like one of the spindles off the stairs would just come off because it was not done right. Instead of looking at it and being like, oh, did they do anything right in this house? I would say gratitude would keep me in a mindset of like, Lord, I thank you for this house. I thank you that I have a staircase. And when I do replace the spindles, that is going to be a skill that I have.
Right.
That if it was correct, I wouldn't have that skill.
Right.
But now there's an opportunity. Gratitude helps me to see opportunity in every adversity.
Absolutely.
Instead of seeing adversity as something that's a wall or something that will halt me, and gratitude helps me to get like the running momentum to jump over those hurdles and to go on to the next one. And it just conditions you for things that you may not otherwise be able to withstand. So let's say, God forbid, he calls us to move to another place, and the same thing happens. We have the muscles.
Absolutely.
It was like, oh, I've done that before.
Right.
And God, he kept us.
He did.
He provided for us.
He did.
And it's like when I'm thankful for what he's done, I can see adversity not as something to avoid, but something that I know that God will carry us through.
Absolutely. And I think about a couple things. One, the Lord, little by little, he provided for us materially, just some of the tools and just some of the materials that we needed in order to help our house function. But the other thing he provided was relationships. And I think about, we mentioned Jamie, we mentioned Pastor Ken, we mentioned our next door neighbors, the Clarks. We can't forget the Wells up in Lansing, and at Pastor Saturn and Apostle Anthony. And I mean, my goodness, they have been such good friends. And sometimes we would just take a trip up to Lansing to just escape from here for a little while.
Right.
We would spend just to go to church with them, to just spend the evening with them, and then head back home to Detroit. But the reality is, part of God's provision in that moment were relationships.
Yes.
Were friendships. And it's like, okay, God, you sent us out there. And I guess we felt like we'd be alone, but Lord, you had people waiting for us.
That's so true. I'm like, this is part I probably cry. But yes.
I also remember my wife bought this couch, and at one point, she said, let's move it to this particular couch to the kitchen. I was like, the kitchen? Like why in the world are we gonna have a couch in the kitchen? And guess who sits on the couch in the kitchen more than anybody?
All the time.
That would be me.
All the time.
So that couch actually became like a prayer closet for me, and that was actually where I would end up spending a lot of time in prayer. And one way I can also say that I have gratitude is that my prayer life definitely got stronger out here, and I would literally spend hours in prayer because I literally had nothing else.
Yeah.
Our funds were low. Things weren't working well, and I'm like, Lord, all I have is you right now.
Yes.
I have you and the people that you put around me right now, because I'm like, I don't know how we're gonna fix this, and we don't have the money for this right now. And Lord, we literally came out here being obedient to what you called us to do.
Yes.
And one thing that Kierra would say is like, Paul, these are God problems.
Yes, we always say that, these are God's problems.
These are God's problems.
What I got to do with me?
Yeah, like we're just being obedient to what you called us to do. And I remember it's a song like Waymaker. It's like a worship song, and I would listen to that song and listen to like Waymaker, Miracle Worker, Promise Keeper, Light in the Darkness, and I would listen to it, and I'm like, Lord, because it's literally you that's going to have to make a way.
Yeah.
It's literally you. And I remember it was one day I was listening to that song and I was reading a Bible verse, and the Lord was just reminding me, just like there are different times in the Bible, God called the people to do something. Like you would literally see him making the provisions, except for all the Israelites that got wiped out.
But they said good morning to everybody except.
Yeah, I mean they just kept complaining, and kept complaining. And
good
kept
morning to
complaining.
everybody except those of you who keep complaining.
But you know what? What I learned from that story is that we're not going to complain.
Yes.
We're not going to complain. We're going to keep a posture of gratitude. We know that there are those out there that have much harder circumstances. I mean, that we see people living on the streets all the time. At the very least, have we missed a meal?
Never missed a meal. Even though every meal wasn't ideal, we never missed a meal.
So we've never missed a meal. We have shelter, even when we had to move out for a little while, the Lord provided. He provided shelter for us. We had to go to a hotel for a couple of days, and I'm still employed. There's so many things that we can be and we are continuously grateful for in the midst of it. And once again, I'm grateful for you because a lot of times when these challenges were going on, whether it was with the sewage, whether it was with the HVAC, whether it was with the leaks, a lot of times you were dealing with these things. I always say, it sounds a lot better than I do because I spend so much time at work. And you dealt with these things, and I'm grateful for you for persevering through these challenges and working with us and remembering. And so, even though sometimes I had to remind you, sometimes you had to remind me that it was the Lord that brought us out here.
Yes.
So I'm grateful for you. And I would rather, I wouldn't want to be on this road with anybody else.
Best friend and partner.
Yeah.
One thing about this, I think probably the last thing I would say when it comes to gratitude in hard times is that I wouldn't choose these circumstances but I'm just so thankful for the character that it built in me. And it's just like, if I can't find anything else to be thankful for, I'm thankful for the person that I'm becoming by going through this.
Right. Amen.
And that person is able to that person on the other side should always be better than the person who went in.
Amen.
So I just thank God for just like what he's shown us. Like you talk about community, like being able to trust God, having to trust God, having to rely on him. Like there's a different reliance that we have in God. There's a different faith that we have in knowing, not just believing. Yes, we believe and we know that God will provide. And we know this because we have experienced this. And everything that we have gone through, our character is just so much better. But it just reminds me of how when we go through things, like each characteristic builds upon another.
Yes.
And I'm just thankful because I feel just so much more like the person God intended me to be, and like his molding of me through adversity. And if I can't find any other reason to be thankful, is that I'm going to look more like Christ at the end of this.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, once again, Key, I'm grateful that you joined me. I'm just thinking of more names of people that just reached out along the way. Bruce was definitely one.
Definitely. 10 May, the Mays.
Yeah, the Mays. Of course, my brother.
Yes.
My brother Tim. I mean, just our parents. It's just so many other family.
Our family.
Family. Just it's like the Lord would just sometimes he would just drop us on their heart at the right time. And but here's the thing, fam. Once again, I realized that your situation may be way worse, or you like, that's it. That's all y'all dealt with, and I get it. This is our story. I can't tell your story. You can tell your story.
Yes.
But if you don't have anybody else reaching out to you like this, take the encouragement from us. Hey, we with you. We are with you. Be encouraged.
Yes.
Be encouraged. Even if this encouragement just helps you to get from where you are to that next point, just allow it to do that. Just continue to be encouraged and knowing that whatever this storm is that you're facing right now, it will pass. That storm has to pass. And in the process, do your very best to find gratitude. Do your very best to find gratitude. And remember, we are in this together. We are learning together. We are growing together. And with gratitude, we are getting better one day at a time. You got this.